Do you want to pitch your idea? Do you want to
Okay,
tell us
yes,
about it, Tony?
yes. So what I'm out to do is create a YouTube channel and actually a movement. The YouTube channel is one thing, but then ChatGPT and Notebook LM gave me the concept that I could actually create it. This what I'm doing is a movement. The YouTube channel is going to be called the ABCs of Love. Did I mention that to y'all before?
Oh, I love that. I
The
love that idea,
ABCs
Tony.
of Love. So, in other
Oh,
words,
I
it's
love
about
that.
having living a life of principles, universal principles, and increasing the quality of your character versus you know, worried about your feelings and like that. Because we don't even have a language for love. We don't have a love language. You know, I know there's the five love languages with, gifts and words of affirmation and like that, but it's even bigger than that. So I have to create I'm going to create a language. I don't have it yet, but I'm going to create a love language, a language that people can actually use for love no matter where they're at. Number one, because if we don't understand the definitions of emotional intelligence, we got nothing. I remember, reading up in the dictionary different emotional words, and I'm like, they sound like business language, producing results as opposed to actually like what you feel and what's the experience of it is like. So, the ABCs of love. It is going to be uh, the highest aspirations of humanity because there's six. We have six different highest aspirations, six different biggest goals, and people that do landmark, I know theirs because people that do landmark, their highest aspiration is to make a difference. Damn it! And I found out that if the person doesn't want to make a difference, and that's not their highest aspiration, they might do the landmark form, but they're not doing the advanced course. They're leaving landmark alone. Bye. See ya.
Mhm.
And then I also, and this is the thing that me say I'm going to create this as a movement because uh, Notebook LM said you should turn this into a movement, which is something I call the seven worlds of love. So the seven worlds of love are love of self. Nothing happens without that. Then love of another. They call it love of relationships, which is really love of another because, you know, depending on what kind of relationship you have with it, whether it's an employee or romantic or whatever, your boys from back in the day, whatever, love of another. Then there's love of family, which is the one we're best at right now. I wouldn't say perfect, but we're really good at that. Then there's love of community, which is the worst one we have at all. It's not horrible, which is what we're talking about. Cast. It's about love of community, and then there's love of humanity, which is the second worst. Then there's that's five. Number six is love of the planet as a whole. So the economics, animals, resources, all of that. Then the seventh is love of spirit, which makes total sense because we're spirits in a meat bag. So we need to know and stay in good relation with our spirit, And so that's what it's going to be about, creating a movement around that, starting with understanding the words that create the quality of character that has love present. That's the movement. So I'm like, wait a minute. I didn't realize it until just now. Y'all are my peeps. And I'm looking at, and I want some support around creating a GoFundMe page, GoFundMe project, because I'm thinking I need at least 25 grand. Well, I'm not saying I need it, but I want to go for that because that way I could have people help me with doing the videos and doing this, that, or the other. So that's what I'm working on. And I just realized that just before I started this, I realized, hey, wait a minute, y'all on my team. Damn it. Yeah. Oh, all right, I'm complete. You're on
Can't
mute.
hear you, Rita. Can't hear you, Rita.
You're on mute.
Okay, thank you for for your intro, Tony, and telling us like what you're creating next with your YouTube channel. I think that's really exciting,
Mm.
and they also gave me a little bit of time to problem solve, like how to get it all streaming. We are now
Mm.
streaming on Substack, YouTube, and LinkedIn. So
Wow. Nice.
finally, we finally got it together, and
Yay.
um, I'm excited to be here. Folks know that if you join us, we can't see you until you actually comment. So we'd love for you to drop a comment in the chat to let us know you're here, or make comments or questions, because unless you want to be kind of in the shade and not in the shadow and in the dark, and not let us see you, then in that case you may not want to say anything. So it's great to be here. I'm Dr. Rita. Today we're starting with a book club with my book, The Digging Up the Seeds of White Supremacy. Let me slow down. I'm just really excited that we got 3 lives going. That's really awesome. Yay. Thank you, Lisa. Well, we're 3 people today. This is a group actually of about 10 people. And I think what's happening is that some people will show up every week and some will kind of hop in and out, and that's perfectly fine. What we're thinking is we'd like to provide some insights for people who are reading along the way. And since the topic's kind of heavy, we want to hold it as lightly as we can, and being in community is a way to lighten it up. Plus, Tony's a little bit of a jokester, so so we get some jokes in between. Anyway, sorry, Tony. That was a little bit of a stereotypical.
That's okay. That's okay. Listen. I got a joke right now if you want to hear it.
God, Tony. Yes, sure. Share the joke right now.
All right. Did I ever tell you a joke about clocks in heaven? Oh,
No.
okay. Good. So this one person, he goes up to heaven and he's looking around and talking to St. Peter. St. Peter says, well, he asks him, what's all these clocks doing? And St. Peter says, this clocks are for they're a measurement for people telling the truth. And so he points at one clock that looked like it never moved. He said, wait a minute, did that ever move? Whose clock is that? He said, that's Mother Teresa. She never lied ever. She don't know how to lie. She couldn't lie. Said, okay, all right, cool. Then he looked at another one that said 2 o'clock. Said, whose clock was that? Said, that's Abraham Lincoln. He only lied twice in his entire life. He couldn't stop him, Said, oh, okay. Then he asked the question. He says, wait a minute. Okay, let me ask you this. Where's Donald Trump's clock? And St. Peter said, it's not here. Jesus took his clock and put him on the ceiling because he needed a ceiling fan.
That is funny. Oh my God, that was really funny. Cool. All right. Well, there goes. We kicked off digging up the seeds of white supremacy with a joke. I'm sure y'all didn't expect that. We're really happy to be here. I think the importance of the reason I wrote this book is because we don't think about systems change as all systems at once. We think about it one little piece at a time. And I wanted to offer a perspective on this big picture, but also offer a bridge for folks from seeing the big picture and what do we do about it? Because oftentimes folks who see the big picture are either activists or like plowing the streets and really, really committed in their advocacy or activism, or folks who can get pretty withdrawn and hopeless and be like, oh, I read another book about truth that has me really depressed and feeling powerless. So I'm committed, and the book is not written to leave you powerless. It's actually written to have each of us see how we can practice in our daily lives, seeding a new system and seeding something that actually works in a society that functions according to the principles that we want to live by. That's a little bit of an overcat. Every time I lead this book club on this book, the group is in action. They definitely each group wants to stay committed and keep working together. And this particular group, where we did Digging Up the Seeds a few months ago, wanted to start an online version so that the conversation would spread. And so we first did a cast book club, and now we're shifting to Digging Up the Seeds. So this is an initiative that actually came from the group itself. And as I said, we're about like 10 people, and some hop in and out as they can. So welcome back. And as is, do you guys want to introduce yourselves? Since you also have Substacks, and you could like introduce what you're up to in the world. Are you up for that? Or you want to go incognito? I'll leave it up to you all.
Sure. Let's see. My name's Lisa Lee, and I live in Portland, Oregon, and I walk around the world like I create miracles. That's who I am. And we all create miracles. We just have to notice it, right? We just have to notice it and be the clearing for miracles. So I'm a clearing for miracles, and I I love, as Tony, as you said, I love to make a difference in the world, and that's who I am.
Can you tell me a little bit, Lisa, what it means to be a clearing for something?
Hmm. Yeah, to be a clearing for something is how we create ourselves in the world and what we have, right? So if we're rushed and discombobulated, then we're a clearing for that. We are a clearing for being rushed and discombobulated. If we're calm and have integrity, then we get to be a clearing for calmness. And I'm trying to think of a better way to explain it, but um,
I can help you if you like.
thank you. A lifeline. Tony,
Okay.
I need a lifeline.
Okay. And then I'll get back to you and then I'll introduce myself. But
All right.
being a clearing is being the space for something to show up what you're committed to having show up. So, for example, what I found out is that having been like we are a bunch of landmark education worldwide graduates, they talk about possibilities. Possibilities are actually principles. So if we stand inside of a principle, there's so many different ways you can express and experience a principle. You know, you could be say, I'm gonna have love present, and then you could either have somebody being romantic, somebody being funny, or somebody wanting to beat you up. I could actually see somebody, for example, shooting one of their family members in the leg out of love. Why would they do that out of love? So that you don't rob a bank and go to jail forever. Like, you know, it's understanding the space that you're creating. I'll say it like that. I'm complete.
Thank you. Thank you. And I don't know if there's much more that I can say for that, but I am a clearing for miracles. That's who I am, and that's how I walk around in the world.
Yay.
Hmm. And I'm complete.
Okay. So I am Tony Veer. I am a relationship, personal development, and emotional intelligence coach. I also am a content creator, coach, and I love making a difference. That's like my biggest thing. My life purpose is two things. One, to have love present on the planet and to leave humanity better than I found it. And I am now in the beginning stages of creating a YouTube channel called the ABCs of Love, which I've had that concept in me for a long time. I used to have a newsletter called the Plant Love into the Earth newsletter, 2010. And I would put in, you know, every week I'd put in a new word for the ABCs. And so now I'm going to turn it into a YouTube channel because I want humanity to understand what love is so that I can fulfill my life purpose to have love present on the planet. Because we are a loving species that don't remember that we are, or don't know that we are. And the first time I saw that we are a loving species was on September 11th, 2001. I was working for a company that was in the World Trade Center, and I was on an elevator, one half floor from my floor. And that's when the plane actually hit the building and hit contact. And I was stunned and shocked because the elevator was moving, but it wasn't hitting any of the walls. So I'm like, wait a minute. And I was the facilities manager, so I would know stuff like that. I said, man, the walls must be moving. Oh my God. That was the end of that. I had to get out the building. When I walked up to this place in if the, for those of you who do know New York a little bit, I was walking up on Astor Place, and I looked around. I saw that the buildings wasn't there, but the gas was still there, and where the buildings were. And I was like crying and sad because I'm like, what the heck? And then this thought hit my head. The thought was Napoleon Hill said, if inside of every uh, disaster or failure lies the seed of an equivalent or greater success, what's the seed of an equivalent or greater success in that? And then I walked away sad and forgot about it. So I walked about 6 or 7 blocks, and then I saw this hospital, Mount Sinai Hospital on 17th Street, 2nd Avenue. And I looked around, I saw there was a line around the building. It's an epic line. And I'm like, why did they do that? And I found out they were there to donate blood. And I'm like, how did they do that? Because they couldn't, there was no way of communicating with each other. That was self done. And what I realized is that humanity is naturally loving as a species in the beginning. And then we have a second thought that takes it away. And then we're done. And so I'm here to help us remember that we're loving and stay that way. Because, hey, what the heck? Last thing I want to say about that is when I was writing these articles back in the day, I remember reading a quote on someplace, and there's a young man who was anonymous, an anonymous teenager, and he had a quote I'll never forget. He said, "Adults, they shouldn't be called grown-ups. They should be called given-ups." Ooh. And that's why we're here where we are now. Because we're great until about 5-6 years old, and then we start listening to adults and we lose our life purpose and all that stuff. So yeah, no, we're here. I'm here to make that turn that back around, and that's why I'm with y'all too. I'll complete. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. One more thing. I'm also owner and president, founder of a company called the Relationship Mastery Institute, because we're designed to be in relationships, but we don't understand the structure and the design. So that's why I'm here to help us make it simple. I'm complete.
Thank you, Tony. I really appreciate you both, you and Lisa, being here today. I realized I was trying to work some kinks behind the scenes. We're not actually on Substack because I just realized Substack is not compatible with the software with Restream that I'm using right now. So I may have to like change service. Anyway, there are some logistical things that we'll work through by next week. What I'm hoping to do is to actually record this video and then run it on Substack. So let's see if we can do that. Otherwise, we may do it again. But let's dive in anyway. So we're live on LinkedIn and YouTube right now. I may be able to put Instagram in as well, or it may be better to just do what we're doing. All right, so I just posted our agreements in the chat. Did I do it twice? I don't know if I put it twice, but yeah, I may have pasted it twice. I don't know if you can see it. Anyway, I'll read them out loud. So what I'd like to do, these are the agreements we created for the Cast Online Book Club when we shifted from our kind of Zoom format to the online. And we were thinking about what kind of problems could come up when we were in the conversation, in the discussion online. And so basically now we have a little bit more of a sense because we've done that for a little bit. And so it's a good opportunity to kind of review the agreements and decide who we are now. So number one, let's do them 5 at a time. Grace and generosity with where I am in my learning. Emotional maturity and intelligence. Ask for a pause when triggers show up. Be honest about your own triggers, take responsibility, and being responsible for our own white fragility. Impact is more important than intent. Any other thoughts? Any thoughts on these 5? Do they still resonate?
Yes.
Any comments or insights around how these have worked out before?
I'm thinking something like, how can we have love more present today than yesterday? It just hit my head just now.
Yeah. One of the things I've gotten really clear about since our last round, like since we wrote these up, it's interesting that this says, not interesting, but it says being responsible for our own white fragility, impact is more important than intent. That expression is used a lot, and it comes from Robin DiAngelo's work, I think. Well, she names it. Maybe it doesn't come from her. Maybe she also heard it beforehand. But one of the things I notice is that white fragility puts up a wall. And impact versus intent, the like, oh, it means like, I didn't mean to hurt you, is a way to dismiss the experience of the other person. And
Mhm.
generally that's across the white black line, right? But something interesting about how white fragility shows up between white folks, in particular when a white person is trying to hold another white person accountable for white fragility or for behaviors that are installed by racist programming, it builds a wall. Like, part of the white fragility is to create this aggressive bulldog back off persona. So because you're actually telling someone to back off, you're creating a wall. And to your point, Tony, part of saying, like, let the white fragility go is part of saying, can you let the wall go? Can you let the wall go?
Yeah. What I'm present to is that document from Conversations with God called The 10 Illusions of Humans. And the 10th illusion is ignorance exists. And that's what white fragility is actually using to protect itself and maintain who it is. Because as T. Harv Eker once said, you could be happy, you could be right or you could be happy, but you can't be both. And so when people are going for being uh, ignorant, what they're doing is they're trying to maintain their happiness by being right, which is sickening and sad because it's so immature. But yeah, what I'm hearing you say is amazing. So thank you.
Okay. Any other thoughts on these first 5 agreements, and have they worked or not worked?
That's great.
Yeah, I think they're great.
Oh, I think I didn't. Maybe now I'm showing them. Oh, here they are. Yeah. Now they're showing on the screen. I'm wondering if they could show in the chat before. I don't know. We're still learning here, folks. A little grace in our learning. Number 1, grace with our learning. Yeah, let me say the grace with my learning is the technology side of all of this, right? I just want to write an article and post it online and have it go viral without doing anything about it. All right. Number 6, forward the conversation. Number 7, being gracious. Our communication should reflect being gracious. Number 8, listen deeply and communicate from listening. Number 9, empathize the best you can. Number 10, Dr. Rita is in the role of coach, asking permission first. Any
Beautiful.
thoughts on these?
I like them all. Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
They still work?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
I
sound
love
like they
it.
come from a higher level of consciousness than what you normally would get in most locations, and venues, and groups. Big.
Yeah. And also, I'd like to say that one of the things I'm passionate about, since I hear you using a lot of the spiritual language, Tony, I want to like name that there are some folks that resonates with, and there are some folks that language doesn't resonate with. And part of what what I'm really passionate about is building a bridge between the social justice world that often feels deeply and has an embodied experience of being a victim, of course, and lives from there. Um, and the healing world that talks about the trauma that our families generate, but often doesn't have a societal analysis. And so the healing world talks a lot about, transforming our lives and being creators of our own lives and being empowered and knowing the fullness of our divine power, but often does not pair it with a social analysis that is solid. And so to the social justice people, the healing people feel airy fairy. And to the healing people, the social justice folks feel like they're always in victimhood. And actually, I believe those two worlds have something really solid for each other. And so part of my work and my commitment in my lifetime is to bridge those two worlds, to be able to find some shared language, because there is a shared, to the point you were making at the beginning, Tony, there's a shared desire to make a difference in the world that those two groups have. And I think they need each other. Like, I think they're two sides of the same coin. Kind of, one is the individual power and one's the societal power. And if we can have our folks committed to social justice to have individual power, and we can have our individually focused people to like leverage what social power looks like and collective power looks like, then our societies can actually bloom into something more powerful and more elevated, I would say, barring a term from the spiritual world.
Yeah.
So you'll hear me use spiritual language, but I'm also deeply steeped in social justice world. And so that's something even to unpack around how some things land differently in one world versus another.
Okay. Well, you're also touching on something else that most people have no clue about, which is various levels of consciousness. So, for reading a book called Power versus Force by David R. Hawkins, and he created the map of consciousness, the 17 different levels of consciousness of humanity. What I discovered is that there's three main categories. There's the lower category, the middle category, and the higher category. The lower category, the people who don't know what context is. Their brain cannot accept context, cannot see context. They only know content. And so they get annoyed with you if you don't see things the way they do, because their perception won't let them see anything beyond what they see. Then there's the middle people. They can see context and content, but they can't tell the difference which one is which and how to combine them. So they sound all woo woo and happy and all that stuff, but they're not clear and they still can't lead and direct. And then there are people at the highest level, 500 and above, where they can see context and content at the same time at all times. All they're seeing is both. And they know how to increase their perception level. And one of the biggest reasons why people have a challenge with perception, they're not even aware of it. They think about it as awareness. No, it's perception. Perception is what can you see and how can you see it? And the biggest problem we have around perception is that our emotions get in the way of our ability to perceive what's really in front of us. So if we don't understand emotional intelligence, we're not going to be able to perceive what's really going on. I remember doing an exercise on perception, and in a class, and I was looking out this window, and I looked around, and what I realized is I never perceived this before. We still live in caves. We just call them apartments. But if you don't understand that, then you won't never see that. It'll never come to you as a concept. So that's what we're missing is our ability to see reality as reality actually is. So that's what I'm hearing you saying. I just wanted to point that out. I'm complete. You're on
You're
mute.
muted again. You're muted again, Rita.
Any other thoughts on these agreements before we move to the next ones?
Not me.
Happy with them.
Okay, here are the next ones. If someone causes harm, you have 72 hours to apologize. You may be asked to step away if you don't. And you may not be invited on stage. We'll come back to the table if we have problematic comments in the chat to discuss. Keep love alive. See, you're in here, Tony. You were definitely here when we did these. Raise hands before you speak. No N words.
What?
No N words. Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Or any comments about these?
Mm. I will say that I thought hit my head when you said keep hope alive that Jesse Jackson passed away earlier this month.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a big celebration honoring him this month. Anyway, all right, that's it.
Absolutely. Great man.
Mm-hmm. Gave his best always. Yeah.
Indeed. The other two are no profanity and role of moderator if someone is dominating. And what that means is that it's the moderator's role to take action. We had talked about the possibility of muting someone if they were dominating to the point of distracting the call and like taking up too much time. And by too much time, we mean like 10 minutes, right? Like 5 or 10 or continuing on a issue that we asked people to back down from.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts about these?
Yeah, I'm a New Yorker. It's going to be hard for me to not use profanity.
I know. I was sitting there going, "Oh, we said no profanity. Wow." Have I been mistaken? That was my first thought. I was like, "Oh," I was
How
about
can
to
we
say,
talk
"Oh,
about racism and dissolve racism without profanity? Come on now.
yeah, I know." And I think the person who wanted no profanity is not here right now to defend it. So maybe we can wait for her to come back next week and then talk about the no profanity rule. I'm not going to overrule it because she's not here, and
Right.
that would be fair.
That's okay.
I'm
Man,
wondering about the raise hands because I know we had an issue with sound and everybody had to be muted before, and I don't know if we still have that issue, but
oh yeah,
just
no,
wondering.
we don't have that anymore. You're right. So yeah, that's right. Although we may be going back to the other platform now that I found out that I can't do Substack on this one. This platform seems to be better with the overlap of voices than the other platform. The other platform did horribly if 2 people spoke up at the same time. This doesn't seem to have the same interruption. I actually like it more quality-wise. Which
I'm
is
not
an
even
interesting.
sure how to raise a hand on this platform, actually. I'm looking.
Oh, yeah, that's an even better point. I don't know either. Okay.
Well, I can go like this, yeah.
Well, Lisa Lee, you take your hand and then you raise it. All right. So jokes, see, then you turn me into a jokester too, Tony. You see what happens?
Yay.
All right. So let's talk about like taking a deep breath for a moment and thinking about how far we've come in this conversation. Is there anything that you need now in this conversation, given where you are in your learning? Like each of you have come a long way, and there may be something you need now that's different from what you needed. I don't know. My guess is we wrote those at least 3 months ago, maybe 6.
I don't know what to say about what our rules. They work for me.
Okay. Go ahead, Lisa. I see your hand.
You know, one thing we don't have on here, and I remember seeing it somewhere, is we read, right? If we're going to be, talking about part 1 next week, we read part 1, right? And we come prepared to contribute.
You mean we got to do the homework assignments?
Yeah.
Yes. I like that because I have to say, like, even with digging up the seeds, even having written it, like when I read, I have like a completely different insight as to when I don't read. And I also realize that I moderate differently when I read and when I don't read. So, and I think the quality when I read is, for me, is higher because there's more detail there. I love what you said about being prepared to share. Like I often ask the question, are there passages that you'd like to highlight and comments you have? There's always a little bit of a pause there. And I think when we're online, the pauses are heavier than if we're in person. You know what I mean? Because we actually have an audience. And so I would love it if, with that agreement, we could invite people to like have a passage to share when you come, so that folks are ready to have like, this is the passage I want to kick off with, because I like that question because it gives us more openness. And I like leading book clubs, but I don't like controlling book clubs. So when there's too much guidance, that starts feeling a little tight for me. I like leaving the space to let things kind of go off the rails because sometimes they do, and that's part of the That's the part of the fun of it for me, is the
Mm.
unpredictability of it. So how do you guys feel about that?
An agreement that we come prepared to share a passage. We come prepared to contribute. Yeah.
Yeah, read. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, I
Okay.
hadn't waited for you yet, Tony.
Excuse me.
I hadn't waited for your response yet. Are you on? Are
Okay,
you on
no
board?
problem. I'm like, okay, I'll go along with that. I'll try. Listen, I went to John Jay College for uh government administration, and I didn't get a degree in that. I got a degree in spades, bid, wisp, and disco.
I was going to say, I don't really see you in government administration.
Nope.
Somebody in your life was trying to get you a government job.
My mom was trying to get me to be a lawyer. She said, "You're so brilliant. You should be a lawyer." She was right about my brilliance, but wrong topic.
I got it. Okay.
Oh,
Anything else that folks need at this stage of the process? I'd like to unpack a little bit, since this is our second round at these agreements. Let's talk about how they worked. Like, I hear that there's not a lot of critique to it. Like, they seem to have held the container well. In facilitation spaces, we talk about the container. It's kind of like, if you invite someone over for tea, you know that you're going to be in the four walls of your living room or the four walls of your kitchen. So what is the environment that we create? And there's a whole both art and science of creating an environment online. And I think these agreements have served us well. I think we've created a cool space. Let's talk about what we feel has worked. Like, what has the atmosphere been like in the weeks that we've been in conversation? Or what has particularly worked for you out of these agreements? Go for it.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that we've had camaraderie and camaraderie as we're learning and being coached if we need coaching, and we have lost one member based on these agreements, and it's I would just say it's sad that we lost one member, and I get it. I get what I get, and they took themselves out too at the same time, right? And I think we're stronger for it. And agreements in general work really well for a group. And we have stated agreements. Sometimes there are unstated agreements, and I think that's maybe what that's what we're seeing as we delve into cast and delve into digging up the seeds. There are a lot of unstated agreements in our culture. Yeah.
I don't have any comment around that. Everything seems to be working.
I would say that one of the things I feel like you've challenged me to do, Tony, is lighten up. I feel like, that piece around keeping the love alive, right? And this group has a really high commitment to sharing conversations, to like being the best we can be for the world, to like helping others be the best we can be. I'm not surprised, like, we're all coaches in one way or another. So there's just a really, as you were saying, Tony, a very high commitment to making a difference and being the best we can be. And I can just get very serious about that. And you always challenge me to, like, out of my comfort zone and like, yo, smile a little, it's fine. Like, it's not the end of the world. You could talk about clocks in heaven and then come back to white supremacy. Like, white supremacy is not going anywhere. We can talk about it after. We laugh about clocks in heaven. Um,
Oh my God.
I'm grateful to you guys for that.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, is there something that we want in terms of our vision for our group moving forward? Is there something we want to take this to the next step?
I just thought about this. I would love to see us create a platform that has millions of followers, subscribers. Yeah, whether it be a TikTok channel or whatever, where people are just like, oh, I can't stop listening to these guys.
Well, that's what Substack, we can do that with Substack.
Okay.
And with 1,000,000 subscribers, we would be catching the attention of all the biggest journalists in our country who
Yep.
have channels on Substacks.
Yep.
Because I was just thinking, right, like this today when it didn't work in the end because we're not live on Substack, but like when I created the Substack, it was like, who do you want to invite, right? And there was, since I follow Joy Reid, it gave me the option to like invite Joy Reid, and I was should I invite her? Should I invite her? Right? Um, like Joy Reid has a channel, and Ava DuVernay do too. And I think what I love most about Substack is it gives us an opportunity to collaborate. So I know you don't have one, Tony, and I'm not getting paid by Substack, but like I know that you're building your platform for all the beautiful things you're up to. And that's true also for the others who will come, next week or when they come. And so what happens is we can collaborate on it, so we can go live together at the same time on all of on our individual pages, and that's something we
Hmm.
could not do on Facebook. Mean, bad Facebook. Or even on LinkedIn. Like you have to choose one person who goes live and then you tag the others. That's not how it works on this one. Like it goes live automatically on everyone's platform, I think.
Hmm.
Um, but I've definitely seen two people be on a live together with two separate platforms, and it was live on both of their platforms. So there's definitely a way to do that. And I too would like to see millions follow us. And more for anything else, because there's an authenticity that we show up with. Like we're
Hmm.
all extremely different in our extremely different ways. Um,
Hmm.
and I want to see more of that in the world. 'Cause
Great.
I strongly believe that whenever we are bubbly, the world gets bubbly too.
Mm.
Like
Well,
more of life is always a good thing. I told that to someone in a coaching call this morning. I was like, the more alive you are, the better the world gets of you. Like
yes.
the more you give that beauty to the world.
Mm. As a matter of fact, about ABCs of Love video series, the very first video, authenticity.
Mhm.
There you go.
So what would it take for us to take that vision more seriously? Like what can we do? I mean, maybe we could put it as an agreement even. Like what can we do to
I say we need to create a language that communicates, because language um, creates mindsets, perceptions, and distinctions around things that has us evolve. We didn't have a language for automobiles before automobiles showed up. We didn't have a language for the internet before the internet showed up, but we have a language for all of that now. So that would be something to put in is, a world without, you know, racism, without white fragility, without this stuff. Like, what would be the opposite of that? That's why I'm committed to creating a language of love.
like creating new that's interesting. I got it now.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
wasn't on board with you until I heard that.
Yep.
I didn't get it at first, but I get it now. So you're saying like new language.
Yes.
Interesting. I,
Wording,
yeah,
distinctions,
I'm down with
corporate.
that. Like I
Yep.
think, and I think that could like even we could even think of that week to week, like
Mm.
given the topic that, like, given what we read this week, what's a new concept that we could create that I love that idea. You're
Love
such
it.
a great thinker and creator, Tony. I love that. But like, what is a new concept that we can think of that would, want to play? I have an idea now. Want to play with this idea now?
Go ahead.
What is a new concept we could create that brings together agreements and being? Because being is how we show up, right? When you say keep the love alive, we're saying show up loving. And agreements is doing it in a way that respects my boundaries and the boundaries of the other person. So how can we bring those two concepts together? Because in the world that we envision, those two would go hand in hand. They wouldn't be separate, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is being on the same page, mentally and emotionally on the same page. Another thing that comes to mind is creating a personal life charter or a business charter or a friend charter. And I actually got that concept from surviving 9/11 and going down to North Carolina, and I had to figure out how I could keep myself from getting my brain eaten up by like these negative, no brain, no learning people down in North Carolina.
So what do you mean by friend charter?
No, not a friend charter, but a personal life charter.
What does
Like
that mean?
your own business charter for yourself in your life. It's around basically on your life purpose. And what gave me that idea was two things. One, I was reading, every day when I was working for Landmark Education, you had to read the Landmark Education 2020 charter every morning as a staff member. That's how you started your day. And that was interesting. And I liked it. I respected it. But I'm like, that's not me though. I need to find another one. So I thought about it and I said, oh, I'm gonna read the Declaration of Independence and the United States Constitution. And I started reading that. And the combination of the two made me come up with something called a personal life charter. And then and I'll be happy to send it to everybody so that we could actually learn how to create it for ourselves. Because when we can learn how to create it for ourselves, we can actually learn how to create it and help other people create it for themselves. And we can do it as an individual, as a collective, as a cultural.
I love the
Doing
idea,
stuff.
and I'm looking for a word that is juicier than charter because I can't think of anything colder than charter.
Okay, purpose, agreement. I don't
Because
know.
you said you wanted to create language, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's play with creating language.
Okay. Um,
What could be life vision, right? Vision for
yeah.
our life.
Yeah. That's actually one of the biggest things in the mission, in the life, personal life charter is your vision.
No, vision's out there. This is practice. This
Hmm.
is right here. It's
Hmm.
being and practicing being at the same time.
Hmm.
That's generation. We're generating. We're generating something.
Hmm. Being our best self.
Hmm.
Oh, the name of my course that teaches people how to do that is called Designing Your Best Self.
I was thinking when you originally said what you said, Tony, I thought that you were talking about literally like creating new words. So we're right,
Well,
reimagining is a word that's
mhm,
like kind of surfaced in the past, um, in the world of systems change work. Like it surfaced in the past, I don't know, like maybe 5 years. I've seen it everywhere in the past 5 years.
mhm.
Co-creating is one that I've seen for the past 20, but because of the circles that I'm in. To your point,
No, that makes
generating,
sense.
I don't know how long generating has been around, but I've been seeing generating for about 20 years and regenerating for about regenerative maybe 7, 8 maybe.
Mhm.
So I was curious if you were actually talking about creating new words.
Well, yes, that's a part of it, creating new concepts and then finding the words to communicate those concepts. But I just came up with the concept itself, not how to do it yet. I'm working on it.
Well, and because today the topic was agreements, I wanted to
Hmm.
see if we could massage the idea of agreements and take agreements to the next level by adding being to there.
Well, that's good because I like that, and I'll just tell you why I brought up the personal life charter. Is because one of the things I teach in my relationship courses is that couples create their own personal life charter, and then once they complete that, they blend it so they can have a relationship charter. So I'm thinking that if we actually, as a collective, we created our own personal life charter, we could actually combine our personal charters into a collective charter, as opposed to,
That's a different
you know,
proposal. What
say
I
that
was
again.
inviting us, that's a different idea. What I was
Okay.
inviting us to do was to consider a different word than charter or a different word than agreements.
Okay. I agree
I
with you.
think agreements is cold. I think agreements is super cold. Like agreements
Mm,
to me sounds like, I don't know, fork and knife. It doesn't sound like what's on the plate. It sounds like what you eat from.
mm. Okay.
So I'm Italian, so I'm always thinking in food terms.
Forget about it.
It doesn't look like, lasagna. It looks like it feels like the fork you eat lasagna with. Fork. Like,
I'm sorry.
would you
I
rather
haven't gotten that far yet.
rather would you rather say fork or would you rather say lasagna? Come on.
Oh my God.
Looking for a term that would say, like, instead of saying, let's do agreements. Yes, let's do agreements. Like a word that would have it come alive. Like doing agreements is a phenomenal process. It's a process where we decide who we are together, where we
Mm,
decide what's the juiciness we're going to create, where we decide how the air is going to smell when we're in the same room together, right? What is it going to smell, taste, and touch and feel
mm.
like?
Well, what's coming to mind right now is the language of sports teams for this, because they have to actually come together in order to succeed, win the NBA championship and the World Series baseball. They got to come together as a team. They got to be thinking like they're on the same page with each other, 100%. And so I don't know
Oh,
what that is, but I'll look for that. I'm not saying we should go there, but I'll look in there because I'm like, where is this concept coming from? I came up with a new concept, but I didn't actually ground it yet because it's just new thought. But
I I actually think your element of comparison is well taken. I'm just not a sports person, which is why I said no quietly because that's not where my mind goes. But I think
She
you're
was
right,
resisting it.
and I think you're yeah, I was resisting it for sure, and I think you're right
mhm,
because it's that flock feel of we're separate but we're one,
yes,
right? We are one and we can fly together and we can accomplish
mhm,
whatever we want by flying together.
right,
Um, it's exactly that feel. So
mhm.
I think you're I wonder if it's a teamersation, teamversation.
Ooh, I like that. Teamversation. I like that. Listen, you're
Yeah.
reminding me of something else now. I'm a New York Knicks fan. I will always be a New York Knicks fan. I don't care if they suck, they're the worst team in the league, or they win the championship, they're my team. I'm sorry, I don't care. And the reason why is because the first year I paid attention to them, they won the NBA championship in 1960, 1970. Like, wow, that was amazing, right? But one of the things that was so amazing about them is that they talked about themselves as a team the entire year. And one of the guys in there, I think it was either Dave DeBuscher or Bill Bradley, because they were the starting forwards in the team. One of them, I think it was Dave DeBuscher. He came up with a book called "Pass to the Open Man." That was the mantra for the entire team for the entire year. Find the open guys that he could score. And I'm like,
Amazing.
wow. And he also did like a journal. Every day he wrote down what happened that day or what he thought that day or what he learned that day or whatever. And that was the book. And I was like, wow. And I read that and I was like, junior high school when I read that. So I'm thinking, man, maybe I need to go look back that up because that's team. They was like the best team. Yeah, they had great players, but it was team. It's all about team.
What we could also call it love agreements.
Ooh, that's true.
Do you
Yeah,
like love?
because that's where we're going.
Since I know love is the word. Love agreements? I
Yeah,
like love agreements.
but it's also about productivity agreements.
How would you say that in one word?
LP agreements.
LP.
Yeah, love and productivity.
Oh, LP agreements. Oh, I love that. Love and productivity. It's just that productivity gives some of the capitalistic stuff. I feel like it comes like when you throw it out the window and it comes back through the door, or the other way around.
Mm. LP agreements.
Anyway, we'll think about it. We'll think. I like
Oh,
love agreements, though.
ooh,
I can
oh
start
my
playing with
God!
love agreements.
I gotta find listen. I got 3 of the 4 letters that work. I'm gonna give you the 4 letters, and then we got to find a word for the third for one of them. So
Let's see.
TMLP agreements.
Oh,
Team, love.
oh, you mean do the four, Tim? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm looking
Team.
for the M, but TLP definitely.
Oh, yeah, that is
Mindful, mindful.
team love and productivity.
Team, team, love
Oh,
and
you literally
productivity.
want to do TMLP again? Really?
Say it again.
You really want to do TMLP?
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
But
I was gonna.
I want to create a course that's similar to it with a different
Okay.
topic.
So let's check out. We're gonna hop off in a couple minutes. What's something you're taking away from today that you didn't arrive with?
I'll say for
Fun.
me, team, new language for love, and the possibility of having this collective be my support team for having love present on the planet. Yay! And also creating a new language for what we're doing. That's what I'm walking away with. Like, wow, I wasn't expecting all of that.
Mhm.
I'm complete.
Yeah. I'm walking away with fun, freedom, ease, and gratitude. To be
Mhm.
on your team, Tony, to be on your team, Rita.
Yay! Thank
Yay! Yay! Love and
And background
productivity.
information for anyone who's watching. We all know each other through a leadership program called Team Management and Leadership. So teamwork is very exciting to us. we get giggly when we have team members. Um, I'm really walking away. I love the energy of this call. Thank you guys. Like I feel like we were all just very bubbly. And thank you for the challenge, Tony, of creating new language. I really love that. And I love what it did to our minds in terms of poking us to the next steps. Um, my brain goes off into next steps, so I could see us like all writing a post or article on our new word, so that we can like try to get our word to start spreading. I think I may use love agreements in the title of
Mm.
this video, if nowhere else. Um, it was really good being with you all. I am not sure if this recorded or not. We will find out. It was absolute mystery. Because I think I couldn't find it live on LinkedIn anymore. Anyway, yeah, we'll see what happens. I don't know. It's all a mystery. We may do it again next week. We'll see. But we'll definitely be here next week, same place, same time.
Yay!
All right. Love to you all.
Same
Peace
here.
love on the planet.
Peace and hair grease, Lord dear.
Bye-bye.
Bye.